Hey guys, Maewtt here, and we are back with more trolling on Mineplex bridges. And you guys seem to like my stories last time, so I've got more of them for you. But before we begin, I just want to mention, I know there's a buzzing noise in this. I don't know how to fix it. I guess it's just going to be one of those things that we're going to have to deal with until Christmas break when I get home and get back to my old PC. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the stories. Alright, so this first story is a college story, and it comes from my friend. And he goes to a super liberal college back in New York. I think it's like Nazareth or something. Whoever it is, though, a lot of the people there are liberal. And on everyone's door in his hallway, they have like these whiteboards on the outside of their door that they could write on. So one guy took his whiteboard marker and wrote Trump 2016 on everybody's whiteboard as a prank or something. And so my friend's sitting and doing his homework, and like all of a sudden he hears this girl scream, "You support Donald Trump?" And then like this guy trying to desperately explain that someone like put that on his door as a joke and it wasn't him. I don't know whether the guy was successful in convincing her or not, but I guess he may not have gotten some alone time because of it. Anyways, now that I mentioned the election, there's one thing I want to say about that really quick before we get back to more stories. And I've seen like a ton of friends and family members like refuse to speak to each other anymore over this election just because they can't handle each other's like political opinions. In my opinion, that's kind of sad. Like, my sister and I have different political opinions, and we still get along great. Like, we didn't let this election ruin our relationship, and anyone who does let that happen, in my opinion, is extremely immature. And really, if you like did let this ruin your relationship with someone that was close to you, like a friend or family member, it's not too late, okay? Just apologize, maybe take them out to a restaurant somewhere. Just try and patch things up, okay? It's not worth losing a friend or a family member over this, so just please try and apologize to them. And, I mean, I guess what I'm really trying to say is, if the guy who builds poop on a children's block game has the maturity to respect other people's opinions, you should have that maturity as well. I'm just saying. Anyways, back to the stories. So these next couple of stories are going to have to do with Bob, and you probably remember him from the last video where he flipped off the entire cafeteria. This takes place about a year after that, and I was in health class, so I'm just going to warn you right now, there's going to be some mature content in this. And so basically I suggest if your parents are like able to hear this, you can plug in headphones or wait for them to leave or something. And I'm not trying to bag on Bob. I mean, Bob and I are actually really good friends right now, like today. After that year, he actually matured, and I was actually a pretty horrible person then, and people change. So anyways, let's get on to the story. So Bob did a lot of stuff in health class, and I don't remember what order these things occurred in, so I'm just going to say them in whatever order I remember them happening in. But surprisingly, he never got in trouble for any of the things he did. Like, all these stories I'm about to tell you, he didn't get in trouble for a single one of them. And you're going to be pretty surprised about that once you hear them. So, the first thing I remember him doing is during the anatomy unit, our teacher passed around a, like, plastic model vagina, and Bob asked if he could take it home with him. And as you hear more about these stories, it's going to become pretty obvious, if it isn't obvious now, why he wanted to do that. And the teacher's just like, "No, Bob." So this next story takes place when we had a sub. He's one of our district subs, and his name was Mr. Sodchuck. And normally I don't give like real names in these stories, but I kind of have to for this story, and you'll see why. Basically, every time Bob wanted to get Mr. Sodchuck's attention, he'd say, "Excuse me, Mr. Safa, I mean Sodchuck." And like, he just completely ignored it. Like, he'd just say, "Yes, Bob," and pretend he didn't say that. So, this guy must either be like just worn out after dealing with our school district for so long, or he just didn't care. I really don't know to this day which one it was. Alright, so this next story takes place during the rape unit, and I kid you not, we actually had a unit on rape and sexual assault. It was basically talking about, you know, like statistics and how to protect yourself. And so at the end we had to do like this little project where we had to make a 45-second commercial about how to like defend yourself from rape or sexual assault. And there are two things I remember about the project. One, that one of my friends almost got detention because he said something like, "Don't drink more than you're able to handle to." And a teacher who's like a super liberal person thought that he was like victim blaming. So he almost got detention for that. The other thing I remember, and I'm pretty sure the whole class remembers this, is Bob's project. And what Bob did was he decided to have a little story that he made up. So, I'm just gonna tell it the way he told it, or at least the way I remember him telling it. One day, Miss takes no schnout, and schnout's my substitute for the S word for those of you who are new viewers. So, one day, Miss takes no schnout is walking down the street, and all of a sudden, a black SUV pulls up next to her, and out jump two men. Oh no! It's Justin Bieber and his friend, Mr. Molester. Luckily, Mrs. Takes No Schnout knows what to do. She punches them in the throat, and face, and balls, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then she calls the police, and they go to jail for 25 to life. The end. And in the end, surprisingly, he didn't fail the project because he technically, told you how to defend yourself from sexual assault. You know, the whole punching thing in the throat and balls, because those are like weak spots in people. However, he did lose a lot of points for not being serious, and that was one of the requirements of the project, was it had to be serious. And I just, to this day, I find it ironic that my friend almost got, a detention for saying that you shouldn't drink more than you're able to handle. And it's true, you kind of tend to lose control of yourself when you drink more than you're able to, and I think that's what my friend was trying to say. And yet, Bob does that, and completely gets away with it. Alright, so during the sex ed unit, one of the things we had to do was write a sex question on an index card and give it to the teacher, and everyone had to do it. We weren't allowed to leave until we all did it. I don't know why we had to do this, because I'm pretty sure at this point in high school, everyone except for me, my friends, and Bob already had experience on the subject, but whatever. So some kids either couldn't think of something, or they were too embarrassed or whatever to think of a question, so out of sheer desperation, they gave their index cards to Bob, and had him write their question for him. And I'm pretty sure they ended up regretting this decision. And I don't know whether this is a sheer coincidence, or if Bob did this on purpose, but he had the Asian kid ask, why do chicks like guys with big penises? And he had the black kid ask, how many chicks can I blank at once? I'm not going to say the actual word because, I don't swear or anything like that. But, and then the next day, Bob wasn't even there. He had to go to guidance or something. So the teacher, when she was reading them off, every so often she'd see a card. And she knew, some kids had given theirs to Bob. So she'd look at the cards, and then you'd see her look at one, laugh, and then say, oh, Bob, and then just throw it in the trash. I don't even want to know what those cards said, but knowing Bob, it probably wasn't very good. I remember on one day when Bob was being extremely annoying, one of the school sociopaths who was actually sitting next to me asked me if I knew where Bob lived. And he literally told me that if he knew where Bob lived, he would go to his house that night and kill him. So yeah, I guess I'm not the only one in my grade who had people trying to murder him. So, one of Bob's favorite shows at the time was Beavis and Butthead, and he was telling me about this one episode where they sue a girl in their class for sexual harassment because every time they look at her, they get a boner. So, then he says, kind of like what that girl over there is doing to me right now, and he points to a girl. He said it loud enough for the girl to hear, and I think he meant for the girl to hear. And he's like, Sean, I'm pretty sure that's sexual harassment. And, of course, I meant the real definition of sexual harassment, but Bob interpreted it as the Beavis and the Butthead definition of sexual harassment. So he's like, ew, are you gay for me or something? He says that loud enough for the entire class to hear. This happened on Monday, so basically all week, half the class is joking about how I'm gay for Bob. And by Friday, I was sick of it, and Friday I was having a crappy day, so when I walk into class, this kid makes a remark about it, and I just snap and shout, I'm straighter than the pole your mom dances around. And the whole class just goes silent. Even the teacher was surprised, because I was just that well-behaved kid who would sit quietly and do nothing, basically. So, luckily for me, because this was my first outburst, and she knew that people had been worried me about it for all week, she let me off with a warning, so that was pretty nice of her. Alright, so that's all the stories I have about Bob. However, I do have some other stories, so here's one from middle school. In 8th grade, our school started this new thing called SSR, which stood for Sustained Silent Reading. Basically, they took 2 minutes from the passing periods each day, and they used the 20 minutes that they had for doing that to make everyone go to their homeroom every day and read. You had to read. You couldn't do homework, and I tried arguing, I hate reading, for those of you who don't know. So, during SSR, I tried arguing that if I do my homework, I'm reading the questions, which is technically true. The teacher said no, I had to read. However, I refused to read. Like, I was kind of a little rebel back then, so I was protesting it. And I would just sit there and do nothing all day. And the teacher threatened me several times to give me like a detention or a lunch detention if I didn't read, but she never did. However, one day shortly before Christmas break, she hands me this envelope, and so I open it, and there's a card that says like, "You've been cordially invited to attend the principal's meeting for kids who do not like reading." And so I'm thinking that this is the threat, basically, like, oh, haha, she's saying if I don't start reading, I'm going to get sent to the principal's office. And so I'm showing it to my friends, and yeah, they all think the same thing, that she's basically, it's like a creative, passive-aggressive threat type thing. However, the next day, I'm talking to some of my other friends about my English teacher over here, so he's like, oh no, that thing's actually real. All the teachers got one to give to a kid who doesn't like reading in class. And sure enough, after Christmas break, we started meeting. And basically all we did was the principal would read some book called like Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Not Reading or something, which is really just more like a story about how this kid ends up trying to skip out on his reading projects, but he gets caught in the end, and blah blah blah, do your homework or whatever. So he basically just read that to us, and then after we finished that book, he read The Hunger Games to us, because at that time the movie had just come out and half of us hadn't read the book, so he ended up reading that to us. But still, I do like to laugh about how that could be interpreted as like, a threat to the principal's office, and it does make a good story. Alright, so here's a college story that happened about 2 to 2.5 weeks ago. So, I'm doing a project with my sister at her apartment because we share a class with each other. So we're doing a project together, and while I'm at her apartment, my roommate calls and asks if he could use my TV to watch a movie with a girl that he was having over. So I'm like, sure. And I picture that he just, sat on my bed and watched my TV, which at the time was on my desk. And that's how I'd watch it. But no, that's way too simple for him. When I come back to my apartment, I see a couch resting on 2 wooden planks that are like across our bed frames. And then my TV is tied to my closet, like, towel hanger with yarn. Yeah, of all the materials, he tied it with yarn. And somehow, to this day, it's still set up like that. Like, I don't know how the yarn holds it up, but it does. And, I'm just gonna throw a picture of the couch so that you all can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, when I get back to my dorm, which was late at night, I walk into that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. At this point, I'm just too tired to deal with this, so I'm just gonna talk to him about it in the morning. So a few days after my roommate got the couch and put my TV up the way it is, he kind of got a little annoyed at me because of how I treated one of his friends at the doors or something. So basically every time my roommate goes out, like, that's the only time people are looking for him. And like every time he goes out, like 2 or 3 people always knock on the door looking for him. And it's always a pain. It's like, hey, is your roommate here? I'm like, no. Do you know where he is? No. Do you know what I'm like, I'm not his mom, okay? So I'm just so sick of dealing with it that whenever someone knocks on the door, I just ignore it. And if it's him, he'll keep knocking. Like, sometimes he locks himself out. So if it's him at the door, he'll keep knocking and start saying my name. So that's how I know it's him. And of course, I always answer the door for him. And so one time I'm watching Law & Order on the couch, and there's knocking on the door. So of course I ignore it. And I guess since the TV was playing, they could hear the TV, whereas when I'm on my computer wearing headphones, since the TV is playing, they could hear me, and they could hear it, they know I'm in there. So they keep knocking, and I'm just like, oh, shut up, go away. He's not here, I don't know if he's gonna be back, that whole thing. And he's like, Matt, your roommate sent me to get something for him. So I open the door, he's like, what does he want? He's like, his helmet. Because like he was out skateboarding. I don't know why he didn't grab his helmet on the way out. So I get the helmet, give it to him, and I shut the door. And apparently that was rude, because my roommate, when he comes back, he's like, dude, why are you so rude? I'm like, huh? When he answered the door, I was like, oh, well, I tried ignoring it, but he knew I was in there. He's like, why do you ignore it? You should always answer the door. And like, it's always people looking for you. I'm just like, deal with it. Well, still, you should always answer the door. These people are your neighbors. You need people like them. So, yeah, we had a little argument about that. But I guess nothing really came as a result of the argument, because to this day, whenever someone knocks at the door, I still ignore it. sensitive. Alright, so I know there's a few minutes left in the video, but I've told you a ton of stories already, and I don't want to spoil them all, so I'm going to save the rest for future videos. And tell me what you thought of my stories and this video, and please comment some of your stories down below. I like reading them, and please like, share, and subscribe for more.